if I can pull up chat here. Go for a standard live chat. Not sure if there's anywhere I can see it though. It says it's been live for 20 seconds. Don't think it's been quite that long. So if I do slide over here, does that screw everything up? Nope. Freezes the camera for some reason. So yeah, welcome back to another variety podcast. I'm not sure if my comments are gonna even come up on the screen here. So if anybody's watching, if you could like leave some kind of comment just so I can see if it pops up here, that'd be nice. Because usually I use my computer to do these podcasts, but it's not working right now. So I'm using my iPad. That's why the camera probably looks a bit weirder than usual. I think the camera quality is actually better on this iPad though than it is on my computer, which is funny actually. Anyways, so that's a thing. Anyways, welcome back to another variety podcast with a different camera than usual. Some stuff happened. Hello Frosty, welcome to the stream. I did see the chat pop up, so that does work. The chat pops up. The only thing is that I can't type in the chat. I can't type in the chat. Yeah, this is weird. I'm having to use the YouTube app on my iPad because my computer's not working. When I live stream from my computer, I can get to the stream controls. It's hard to do that from an iPad. The messages will pop up in the corner for a second, then they'll go away. I can't see them past that, and I can't even type in my own chat. So I'll have to read those messages quickly as they pop up for the stream. But anyways, Frosty, it's great to have you back on the channel. I haven't seen you in a while. May have been the last podcast, actually. But I remember you used to be around here a lot way back when I used to do collaboration streams with my friends that also like to play a heck of a lot of Splatoon. Those are fun. Maybe I'll do that again. They're just so chaotic that it kind of ends up messy. But anyways, the other weird thing is I'm having to sit off center from the iPad screen because the iPad camera, the computer camera is on the top, so in the center, so I gotta sit in the center. If I go to the center of my iPad, it's right here because the camera's on this side. So I have to like scoot over where I'm off center from my actual iPad, which is pretty weird. But yeah, happy Veterans Day, everyone. I actually forgot about that. I didn't really have any kind of special video to make for Veterans Day though, so that wasn't really something that we needed to worry about all that much. Not anything I think about, but happy Veterans Day. I honor all the veterans out there. If any of you guys have relatives or friends that are veterans, tell them Variety Entertainment thanks them for their service to the country. Awesome stuff. That's not being sarcastic at all. That's 100% I'm grateful. Frosty says, happy Veterans Day to you too. Thanks, Frosty. Good to know you're still here since the viewer count in the corner says 0. Although I find that to be inaccurate more than half the time that it exists. Gotta love YouTube analytics. They never work the way they should. It makes me think, how hard can it be to just track viewers on a stream? Apparently very, very hard in YouTube's mind. Anyways, so some stuff happened this week, I guess. We got version 4.2 released for Splatoon 2. That was an interesting update. We got a new salmon run stage and 4 new weapons, which I released a video about the 4.2 update. You guys can see on my channel. And then I released a gameplay of playing some Salmon Run in that new stage, which I think is my new favorite Salmon Run stage. It's really, really fun. So if you haven't tried it, I recommend booting up Splatoon 2 again and giving it a try. And then I'm also hopefully going to have gameplay of all those 4 of those new Kenzo weapons as well. They were unfortunately all they were all the same base weapons. There were no brand new weapons, but there was a brand new sub and a brand new, sorry, I'm gonna have to read this real quick. Frosty, it's pretty cool in my opinion, but the special is really easy to go against. Okay, yeah, I had to read that really fast because then it goes away and it's just gone and I can't see it anymore. Like, it's gone now. Anyways, new sub and new special, so that's always cool to see, even if there is no new authentic weapon. I haven't really played much with the new special yet. Haven't really done that at all. but I have played a lot of the because I've started recording gameplay of those new weapons to upload on the channel. It's kind of hard with you got school and all that fun stuff to try and work with, and then also have those videos. But I'm working on the gameplay videos for the weapons as well, and so I think that'll be pretty good. But I've been working on the ones with the new sub, the torpedo. I haven't gotten really to the special yet, other than testing it in the little test room that they have in the game. But when I played it in the test room, yeah, I can definitely see how you'd be pretty dang vulnerable. It was kind of an overpowered thing overall, but someone could come up behind you or on the side. Torpedo's pretty weak. I actually like the torpedo a lot. I mean, it's really easy to avoid, but if you don't avoid it, it can be pretty devastating. And it's also good. I use it kind of like I use the auto bomb to throw it out and just see if anybody's nearby. So I actually don't mind it. It's one of my favorite subs in the game, I would say. I really don't like the suction bomb because I could never use that well. I like burst bombs though because they're fast. Regular splat bombs just suck, no offense. I know some people use them. I don't. If you get a direct hit though, that's a GG. Yeah, with those torpedoes, like it's hard to get a direct hit and it's easy to avoid. But if you can't get out of the way, it's like whoops. Because the torpedoes they hit once and then they have what I was calling in that video a rebound shot where they like explode around the edge of the torpedo as well. But then if you throw the torpedo and it's unable to actually target anything, then it just explodes in place and there's no rebound shot. So you kind of got to make sure if you want to do maximum damage that someone's actually nearby for the thing to target. And that kind of does a target on the ground that kind of looks like the Tenta missile, so I always expect that's what it is. But it's the torpedo instead. So whoops. But yeah, it would be. I would say it's expected to be weak, the torpedo, though, because it is a sub weapon and not a special weapon. If it was a special weapon, I expect it to be a bit stronger than it is. It's also weird to be streaming from my iPad because it's in its keyboard case, which is what's letting it stand up straight. But like on my computer, I could like adjust it and have it stay. But this is the only angle that it actually sits at. So that's kind of weird. I don't get to adjust that very much. But yeah, if anybody's watching still, Frosty, you're probably still here. If anybody's watching, I apologize. It's so late at night. I usually do these podcasts a little bit earlier. At least it's late at my time. I usually do the podcast a bit earlier. There's not really any set time for them. They're just going to be every Sunday night when I have time to do it or feel like doing it. I was kind of waiting to see if my computer would work, but it doesn't right now. Not that the computer is broken. I just can't get the live stream to actually work on it because it's really obnoxious. Okay, Frosty. I don't know why, but I've been using the Firefin splatter scope more often, and I've been really good at getting snipes, you say. Well, cool. I don't actually remember what the Firefin splatling was. Or splat... Did you say splatling, or... Yeah, I guess you said splatling. I don't think I've heard of the... Oh, splatter scope. Yeah, I was thinking... That's what I was thinking. Yeah. I don't know. Brain fart. Anyways, the Firefin splatter scope... Is that like the same stats as the regular splatter scope and then it has like alternate subs and specials? Is it one of those? What sub does it have and what special? I'm trying to remember offhand. I'm not that, I mean, I'm into the game, but I don't really remember what a lot of the subs and specials that go with these weapons are half the time. So, I mean, I only have 125 hours logged on the game, which sounds nuts, but most people know. It has a splat wall and suction bomb rush. See, I don't like suction bombs on their own, but the suction bomb rush I think is really good. Because suction bombs on their own don't do much, but if you get the rush, you're just throwing them everywhere, then they're like impossible to avoid and they do a lot of damage. Curling bomb rush on the other hand, that's kind of useless, I think. You only know it because I use it way too much. Yeah, the weapons that I never use, I don't even know what subs and specials are on it. Yeah, and then the splat wall I think is that's one of those specials that like should be really good and has the potential to be really good, but I don't think anybody's really figured out a good way to use it, if you know what I'm saying. Like, they always seem to just show up and you just hit them down, and that's that. Nothing too special there. But yeah, I'm just kind of interested. If anybody here has watched my other podcast, is this actually a better camera quality? Because just looking at the live playback, I think that might be true, but it might just be because my iPad has a Retina display and my Mac does not have a Retina display. So that might be the difference of just what I'm seeing on the display. So Frosty's flat wall can be good for Tenta missiles if you have one of those teammates that always stay in front of you. Yeah, I guess. Anyways, let me know if anybody notices, like, does this camera quality better than the camera quality on my computer? Because I'm using my iPad right now. I know I've said that like a billion times, but I don't know if new people are showing up on the stream that haven't seen this yet. Haven't heard me say that yet. My computer's not working, so I couldn't use it using my iPad. And then it's also weird with the chat. The messages pop up for a split second, and then they're just gone. So I have to read them very quickly, or I can't see them anymore. And then also on my computer, I can see all the messages and type. Can't do that on this iPad, so that's definitely poopy. Anyways. Good stuff. What else is there to talk about? There was something else that happened this week that I actually typed in the title of this, but I can't see the title. I can't see the title of the stream in the stream preview. YouTube, why? So many weird YouTube decisions made that I'll never quite understand. This might be kind of unrelated and off topic, but just saying, I think Apple should totally put Final Cut Pro on the iPad. I mean, I pretty much use iMovie on my computer to edit because I haven't actually conjured up the $300 to buy Final Cut Pro yet. But if I ever did, it would be really nice if they had Final Cut Pro for the iPad and it like synced with the computer, if you know what I mean. So you could edit anything on the go on your iPad. Because the thing with iMovie is the Mac OS version of iMovie and the iPad version of iMovie are completely different, so nothing syncs. So I can't edit anything like without my computer, which is kind of obnoxious. So I think they should bring Final Cut Pro to the iPad, especially the new iPad Pros. Those things are crazy powerful. Frosty, just saying Apple is taking stuff off, but it's still more expensive. Is it higher quality of the lens of the camera or something? I don't know exactly what you're talking about. I had to read that really fast. I mean, with Apple products, you're getting a higher build quality than what you get on like an Android or something. But actual like the tech is probably about the same, if not less. It kind of depends. If you're buying like a MacBook Pro with an Intel Core i9, obviously that's better than like a Chromebook. But if you're talking like phones versus phones, or pretty much any Apple product versus a similar Android or Windows product, typically with Apple you're getting a better build quality. It's a prettier looking thing, and it's probably built a bit better, higher quality like external parts, but internals you're probably getting about the same performance, but cheaper price on the other stuff. So that's the thing that Android and Windows fanboys, that's pretty much their only arguing point for why Apple sucks, is it's too expensive, which I won't disagree. But if you look, Android and Windows products are really going up in price as well. I think like Chromebooks are probably the only cheap laptops you can even get anymore. Everything's like up to like $800 for a budget laptop, which is just nuts. That's even worse. The new iPad Air is $1,200, and Apple is calling it affordable. $1,200, or yeah, $1,200, $1,200. Apple, that is not affordable. Like, I understand that's what you're charging for it. Frosty, I'm not saying they suck. I'm just wondering what makes them more expensive, and when they take stuff off. When they take stuff off. I mean, they don't really take that much off. Everybody just hates them because they removed the headphone jack. That's about all they've really taken off that they probably shouldn't have taken off. I mean, they took the CD drive off of Macs, but that's where everything was going anyway. No one even uses CDs anymore. They took the USB ports off Macs and replaced them with USB-C, but that's not too bad because you can just get an adapter or a straight USB accessory. Frosty, home button on the iPhone 10. Yeah, well, most Android phones have gotten rid of the home button as well. Most Android phones actually got rid of the home button before the iPhone got rid of the home button. It was kind of late to the get rid of the home button party. That was just kind of the direction it was going. But the one thing I will never argue for is the removal of the headphone jack. That was just dumb. Like, I know the technology is going toward wireless and Bluetooth, but that doesn't mean some of us still have earbuds. Some of us still use these things, okay? And I want to have a port. And then where it gets really bad with that whole thing is that included in with the iPhones, new iPhones that don't have a headphone jack, you get wired lightning earbuds to plug into the lightning port. Well, that's great, except you can't use them with a Mac because Macs don't have lightning ports. Macs have standard Mac. Frosty, I think the tallest roller coaster is 120 to 180-ish. It was the Space Shot in Alabama. What are you even talking about? The tallest roller coaster in the world is King Dakar at Six Flags Great Adventure. It's, I think, 400. It's in the 450s or 460s. I'm a roller coaster nerd, so ask me about anything. Or roller coaster enthusiast is what most people would prefer. The tallest one you rode, sorry. Because I was going to be like, yeah, they're a lot more than 100 feet. Or you Space Shot? You might be talking about the drop tower, though. But people get drop towers and roller coasters confused. Drop tower is where it would shoot straight up and come straight back down, or lift straight up and go straight back down. A roller coaster, there's actually like a track it rolls on. That sounds super smart, Alec, but I'm not trying to be. I'm just kind of differentiating. But you could say like the thrill ride you've been on. That would work. It's a drop tower again, my bad. Okay, yeah, sorry. I'm not trying to make you feel stupid. I'm just, coaster enthusiast trigger. Anyways, I've never been a huge drop tower person. I don't know why. I rode a roller coaster at Carowinds called Fury 325, which was 325 feet tall. It was a 325-foot, almost vertical drop. It was like 88 degrees, I think. And that was an awesome drop. And I loved the drops on roller coasters. I just don't like drop towers. They scare me a lot, whereas I don't know why. Because drop towers scare me to absolute death, but roller coasters don't, no matter the height. Like Carowinds, that same day we rode a 125-foot tall drop tower, and I had a panic attack as to how tall we were, how high up we were. But then when we rode Fury 325, which is 325, over double the height on a roller coaster, we rode front row, and I didn't even care as we crested the hill and started going straight down 300 feet. It didn't even faze me, but the drop tower of less than half the height made me freak out. So I don't really know what it is with me and drop towers. They just usually don't agree. My home park, Dollywood, it's still 4 hours away. It's annoying to be a coaster enthusiast and not have nearby theme parks. It's a 4-hour drive to the closest amusement park to my house, which is Dollywood. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. My favorite amusement park I've been to so far, actually. So it's convenient that it's the closest, but it's still 4 hours away. Not really a day trip thing. Frosty, my favorite thrill ride is the kind that spins you really fast, then usually something else happens. I've seen different variations of this kind of ride. Are you talking like a pendulum ride? Where it spins and then swings like that? Those go by a lot of different names, just depending on what we're talking about. I've actually never ridden one of those. They always have them at the county fair, but I usually don't ride the rides at the county fair because they're rough and annoying. And then, yeah, when I'm at other parks, Frosty, not a pendulum ride. Okay. Is it like a spinning roller coaster or just like a standard spinning ride? I'm just trying to figure out what you're talking about because it's not really clicking. Are we talking about like Disney World teacups? If I can find the name, I'm sure you might know it. Okay, well, if you can find it, let me know. I find it so funny about Disney World. Um, for the most part, everything's pretty high quality there. People praise rides like the Dumbo ride, which is literally just spinning elephants that lift up and down. And people talk about how awesome that was, and I was like, you went all the way down to Florida to ride one of those elephants that move up and down and go in a circle? Because guess what? You can ride one of those at almost any amusement park in the United States. In fact, you can probably ride one exactly like that. You can probably ride a ride by the same manufacturer as the Dumbo ride in Disney World. Exact same ride at your county fair. So, and then the teacups as well. People are like, oh, the teacups at Disney World were so fun. It's like, was that really the highlight of driving 8 hours to Florida when you could have ridden something very similar to that at like your county fair? Like, yeah. I'm not trying to bash Disney. The more I go to other parks, the less I appreciate Disney, because I mean, Disney's mostly for the theming is why you would go. The thrill rides at Disney, not excellent. Tower of Terror was amazing. Rock and Roller Coaster was amazing. Other than that, they don't really have anything. Um, there are more roller coasters in the one park of Dollywood than all four Disney parks combined. So that's for me, eh. And then the lines at Disney are always obscenely long. Um, so it's just not really for me. I like to go once or twice ever, just because the theming's good and it's a nice atmosphere. But it's not really a theme park I'd want to keep going back to every month or anything like that. I'd love to go to Dollywood every month if I had some way to get up there every month. I still can't drive, and even when I do start driving, I doubt my parents are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, you can take the 4 hour drive up there. Bye bye." Parents don't seem like those kind of people. They'd be like, well, what if you can't use your credit card to get gas? Or what if you crash and we never find you again? Mom, it's a 4 hour drive. Yeah, I'm actually, guys, if any of you are watching this still, you can have some input this. I'm struggling on whether to renew my Dollywood season pass this year. Next year. This year was the first year I bought a season pass to Dollywood, and I actually went up 3 times this year. And sneak peek, I will be going up next Tuesday. Will be the last time I'm going up there on the ride. Frosty, okay, I found one I rode. It's called G-Force. Is it in Alabama at Huntsville Space Center? Because I may have ridden that one, actually. May have written that. Anyways, yeah, it is at Huntsville Space Center. Yeah, that place is pretty cool. Fun fact: Huntsville Space Center is actually closer to my house than Dollywood is, but they don't have a roller coaster there. And by coaster enthusiast definition, a place has to have a roller coaster to be considered an amusement park, even if they have other rides there. So that's poop. Anyways, I will be at Dollywood next Tuesday, and that'll be my last time going up in the year. I'm super excited because I haven't been to Dollywood since July. Don't get to go very often. I probably won't get to go very often next year either, because my parents are like, you went 4 times this. You're going to have gone 4 times this year, and I'm like, 4 times isn't that much in the grand scheme of life in a year. So I don't even know if I'm gonna get up there much next year. But anyways, going next Tuesday, it's gonna be awesome because Lightning Rod, my favorite roller coaster ever, period. Love Rocky Mountain Construction, even though Lightning Rod's the only ride by them I've actually ridden. The others look awesome as well. Excited to ride Lightning Rod again. I have not ridden Lightning Rod since April because it was broken down like all summer for repairs. It's back open now though, so I can't wait to ride it next Tuesday. Hopefully it's not too cold because the ride will close down when it's cold. It's also my first time going up to Dollywood for Smoky Mountain Christmas, which is their Christmas event, voted best Christmas event in the world. Very exciting. Very cool. So it's my first time to experience that. I hope it'll be very great. Frosty best. It was voted best by Amusement Today, which is probably what most coaster enthusiasts will go by on awards. It's kind of biased toward the United States more than the rest of the world. So whenever they say anything in USA Today, not USA Today, Amusement Today. Whenever Amusement Today says best in the world, I think best in the United States because it's kind of biased toward that. But within the United States, it's probably the most reputable. They have actual people that know about the industry looking at it, and apparently it's the best. So I'm really excited to go. My first time at Smoky Mountain Christmas. Um, Although I am planning to hopefully go to college at University of Tennessee Knoxville, um, which is less than an hour away from Dollywood. So that's kind of intentional planning. So hopefully I'll be able, once I'm in college, which will be, I think it's 3 more years, or maybe about 2.5 more years. Yeah, it's 2.5 years. And I'll go like literally every weekend, maybe even after school a lot. I don't know. I'm so excited for Wildwood Grove next year. It's their new park expansion for Dollywood next year. That's going to be really fun if I even get to go next year. We're very busy in July, or March, their opening month. I don't know when I'll be able to go. See, the thing is, my brother is terrified of roller coasters, and the rest of my family is not that into it, so that's what kind of complicates everything. But I'd love to go to some more places. Anyways, again, we hit Dollywood next week. Excited to ride Lightning Rod, see Smoky Mountain Christmas for the first time. And we actually have a cabin up there, so I'll be able to stay at night and see all the Christmas lights, because last year we were there around Halloween Harvest Festival. Got to see the Halloween lights, which those are pretty awesome with the jack-o'-lanterns and stuff, and they were playing like Michael Jackson Thriller. I don't know, I just love that park. Oh, the atmosphere is great. Like, Disney, I'd like to say Disney parks had the best atmosphere, but after I've been to Dollywood a few times, I think Dollywood has a better atmosphere, at least in my opinion, because Dollywood's atmosphere is more like Southern charm, if you know what I mean. And, I'm born in the South. I've been in the South my whole life. It's a pretty great place. And it's even more Tennessee kind of pride that's the theming at Dollywood's around. And I've lived in Tennessee my whole life as well. So it's a really great place. Love the atmosphere. So yeah, if any of you ever have the opportunity to go up to Dollywood, I'm not going to be like, go to Dollywood now, because obviously there are a lot of amusement parks I really want to go to that I don't have the opportunity to go to, and even Dollywood, my own home park. Frosty, for me, Montana for 4 years, then Alabama for 10. Nice. Alabama is interesting. I don't think they don't really have any amusement parks in Alabama at all, do they? Because I complain sometimes. I see like states like Ohio where they have Kings Island and Cedar Point, and I'm like, here in Tennessee, all we got is Dollywood. But I think I take that for, a little too far, because at least we have an amusement park. Some states don't. Like, I don't think Alabama does. And Dollywood's like a really good amusement park. Like it ranked third best park in the United States, first best Cedar Point, and then I think like one of the Disney parks, and Dollywood ranked third. So it's a really nice park. I love it a lot. They only have 8 roller coasters though, but they're investing very heavily in the park. They're getting a roller coaster almost every other year. They're getting a family coaster next year, which is good because they don't have too many of those. But I'm really excited for their next like big extreme thrill coaster. RMC T-Rex, please make that it. Although the last coaster they got, Lightning Rod, my favorite coaster ever, has had a ton of technical difficulties. That's also by Rocky Mountain Construction, so people are saying it's unlikely they're going to do that again. Frosty, I'm literally the only person in my school who's never been to Disneyland in Florida. Well, don't feel bad. There are quite a few people in my school actually that have not been to Disney World. I don't want to say you're not missing much. Disneyland, it's Disney World in Florida and Disneyland in California. But anyways, I don't want to say you're not missing much, because you kind of are. The atmosphere at Disney is really good. Like I said, it's kind of the magic stuff. Overall, the rides there are not that great though. They're well themed, if you know what I mean. Like, you go on Peter Pan ride, there's a lot of Peter Pan stuff, but it's not like the most thrilling rides ever. People rave about Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror. Rock and Roller Coaster, about the same thrill level of most roller coasters I've ridden. At least extreme thrill coasters I've ridden. The only thing that made it special was the theming. Tower of Terror, that's actually the only drop tower I can ride without freaking out. which is ironic because it has a whole horror theme and everything, but it never fazed me. Mostly because you can't actually see how high you are while you're going up in that. But other than that, the rides at Disney, they're not that thrilling. They just kind of exist and they have the theming as well. I don't want to say you're not missing out on much at Disney. I just think Disney parks are a little bit overrated. Frosty, I would love Tower of Terror. Yeah, it's pretty great. The only thing about it is it's not quite as thrilling as other drop towers during the actual drop portion. Because most drop towers, they release you and it's a free fall. But Tower of Terror, it's controlled the whole time, if you know what I mean. Like, you're dropping really fast, but it's because you have, like, a motor that's actually dropping, pulling you down at a consistent rate, not really accelerating. Whereas a drop tower, it actually unlatches, drops, and then you hit brakes at the bottom. So it's not quite as thrilling as I might have hoped, but it's still pretty awesome because you're going up and down and up and down. And it also has seat belts instead of over-the-shoulders restraints. Oh, Frosty, that's why I would like it. Yeah, it's also got, my favorite part of Tower Terror is that instead of having over-the-shoulder restraints or even lap bars, it just has seat belts. That was the craziest thing ever. Like, I don't know any other drop tower that you go to ride and has seat belts. Funny stuff. So I've always wondered what would happen if you unbuckle your seatbelt in the middle of the ride. Does it an emergency stop or anything? Because, you know, most rides don't really account for you getting up and moving around because the restraints are always locked. But you could just unbuckle the seatbelt. I wonder why no one's tried that. Probably because they don't want to die. You might not die, though, because it's a controlled drop. It's not a free fall. So you shouldn't fly up to the top. Frosty, you have? Tried unbuckling a seatbelt on a ride? I mean, I'll admit, us coaster enthusiasts, we do some stupid things, like we'll take on rides that have lap bars, we'll take our fist and stick it under the lap bar when they come to do the safety check, so that you get like a fist worth of space in between the lap bar and your thigh, so then when you go and get all the air time on the rides, you actually get crazy air time. Like, we do stupid things like that. But we wouldn't, like, make it unsafe. We wouldn't completely detach the safety belt. So you say it was an accident. What ride were you on? I'm just out of curiosity. If you don't want to share, that's fine, or if you don't remember. But I'm just out of curiosity. What ride? Oh, you were like 10. Yeah. Space Shot. Oh. The one at Huntsville? I think that one has a, like, locking over the shoulder and then just an auxiliary seatbelt, though. So it shouldn't be a big deal if the auxiliary seatbelt came undone. I don't think I've ever ridden that drop tower, though. Oh, the guy didn't do it properly? Most amusement parks you go to are very, very safe, I will say that. All of the ride technicians are very trained, and they know exactly how to do the restraints and how to do it fast. Like, you go to Dollywood, and they're loading 24 people on a train, locking all their restraints, and dispatching the train in about 30 seconds. Then you go somewhere like the Space Center, where the guys running the ride are not trained. They don't know how to do the seatbelt. So it takes like 5 minutes to load 2 people on the ride, and they're not even fastened in right. That's why I prefer actual amusement parks, where A, they know what they're doing, and B, they can do it fast. Whereas other places, A, they have no idea how to do the restraint, and B, they're doing it slow. Oh, that's Frosty. That's why you're so terrified of them. Well, if you go to like a real amusement park, like, dare I say Six Flags. Six Flags has this reputation for being dangerous for some reason. Let me just say Six Flags is really slow. Like most amusement parks, average about 1:30 dispatches on the trains. Six Flags is probably like a 6-minute dispatch on the trains. They are slow. But if you go to like a Cedar Fair park or a Disney park or a Hershey park, which would be Dollywood or Silver Dollar City, a lot of amusement parks you go to, real amusement parks, very fast dispatches, and they actually strap you in really well. But yeah, usually if it's a big problem that you're not strapped in right, then, because they do inspections on the right. Frosty. Also, I buckled the seat right before I got to the top and stopped. That's funny. You know there's a problem when the person riding the ride knows how to buckle the seatbelt better than the guy running the ride. If there was a big problem and you were gonna like die, I don't know. I don't want to say that wouldn't ever happen, but when it does, especially in a place like the United States, the government would come and shut it down. And the government does do safety inspections on those kinds of rides monthly, so there shouldn't be an issue too much. Basically, what I'm saying is if it's not done right, you probably weren't in imminent danger. You may have been, I don't know, but you probably weren't. One of my favorite things to see on rides is when there's airtime, is on the rides that have airtime, which is like where the roller coasters where you go over a hill, and I won't explain the physics, but basically you feel like you're flying up. And I love rides that they have lap bars and you get airtime, and then at the end people are like, "That was not safe. I thought I was going to fall out and die." And I was like, you know how many people ride this ride a day at a place like Dollywood, where they're dispatching trains full of 24 people every 40 seconds? They're probably hosting like 100,000 people on this ride a day, none of which have gotten injured or died. So you're fine. Silly. Also, what I love to hear is like, there are a lot of rides. There are some rides with lap bars that go upside down that are super sketchy. But a lot of rides, especially at bigger amusement parks that are actually, well regulated, rides that have lap bars and go upside down, ooh, that's fun. Usually those lap bars, when the rides go upside down, the lap bars are a lot thicker and they fit really, really tight on you, to the point it almost hurts your thighs to hold you in when the ride goes upside down. But of course, you still got the people that are like, "That ride is super dangerous. I bet half the people that ride it died." I'm like, if anyone died, then the ride would be shut down, because that's how the U.S. government works when it comes to amusement safety. If there's any incident on a ride, it's kind of like no lenience. Like, no, that's gone. Frosty, that's why I love the G-Force. Because it was a good restraint that actually worked. I don't know. Anyways. Frosty, I didn't almost slide out of it the first time. Well, good stuff. But yeah. So if you did it when you were 10, I guess you're a bit older than that now. Although I won't ask your age if you're not willing to share, because I'm personally not willing to share mine. It's just probably not a good idea. Frosty, just friendly neighborhood child trauma. Oh, you're 14? I'm actually not that much older than you. But I don't really give up my age online, because I actually do give out my age online to like a stream chat, because no one knows who I am. But when I'm actually here in person and people can see me, and I've got a lot of other stuff on the channel that might be identifiable, I just like to play it safe. But I'm not that much older than you. I'm in high school, and you've gotten that by now. I'm not really sharing anything beyond that. Like, I've never gotten any more specific with my location other than Tennessee. Because Tennessee's a big state, and we're gonna try to keep that as broad as possible. If anyone wants to come find me, good luck. Just got helicopters just sweeping Tennessee from end to end. It's very elongated too, so that would be difficult to do. Frosty, no pedo gonna get me with this ugly face. Well, I haven't seen your face, so. I mean, you like to think that a pedophile would never come find you, but you never know. You always want to play it safe just in case. Because you hear stories about people that thought they were perfectly safe online, and then something happened to them. So you always, when in doubt, play it safe. That's my internet rule. Um, it's funny that I say that when I'm sitting here with a YouTube channel, standing in front of a camera for it's been like 45 minutes now, just talking about crap. But you got to be careful what kind of crap you talk about. Always. Just keep that in mind. Well, so we got new iPad Pros this week as well. They actually released. I've heard some positive reviews about them, but it's still not a practical laptop replacement because of the OS. It's got iOS, obviously. iOS is not going to replace your laptop. And that's how they're advertising it. Frosty, the closest I've gave someone to my address was my city, and that's only when I see their face and voice at the same time. Well, I just wouldn't even tell anybody what city I lived in, because, I mean, you don't really need to know that. I mean, all I do on this channel is talk about tech, record some gameplay. City's not really needed for that. Anyhow, good stuff. We got the new iPad Pros this week. I hate how Apple is still advertising the iPad Pro as a laptop replacement, because it really can't do that. There's so much stuff you can do on a laptop that you can't do on an iPad Pro. But iPad Pro is still a great device. So I'm chilling here with my iPad Mini 4 thinking about, wonder how long this thing's going to last before I need to get an iPad Pro. Frosty, yeah, I prefer laptops. I personally like to think of them as different devices. Apple likes to blend them together and say, iPad Pro can replace your laptop. But I just like to think of them separately. Laptops can do a lot more, aka edit videos for YouTube. So you kind of have to have some kind of traditional computer. Frosty, Chromebooks might be better than some laptops. Depends on what you're going to do. If you're just going to do like school stuff like typing notes and papers, then Chromebook would work. But the kind of stuff I would want to do with a laptop, like video editing for my channel, you really can't do that on a Chromebook, because A, there's not really editing software available for a Chromebook, and 2, Chromebooks have really low power processors. So when you try to start loading up Final Cut Pro on a Chromebook, good luck doing that. That's not going to end up too well for you. Anyhow, but I like to think of them as different devices, the iPad Pro and the iPads in general, and MacBooks. Because like a MacBook or a laptop, you can do a lot of stuff with it, but it's not exactly the most portable thing. You can take it somewhere if you need to, but an iPad is very thin, light. You can slip it in a backpack. You can just carry it with you, and it's better for media consumption. I mean, it's much easier to take an iPad into bed to watch YouTube than it is to take a computer into bed to watch YouTube. So I think iPad is going to be your more portable, versatile device, and your computer is going to give you more functionality. It's kind of how I'm going to think about it. They're two different types of devices, in my opinion. They're useful for different things. So I'm personally in the why not have both realm. I got my MacBook Air, and hopefully at some point MacBook Pro, because I need a new computer for video editing, especially live streaming. If you see my live streams with games, rocking the 480p 30 frames per second with terrible colors. That's because of the graphics processor quality in my computer. So that's why I'm really excited for the new MacBook Pros later this month that are supposed to have that Radeon Pro Vega 16 and 20 chips, which should provide some pretty dang good graphics performance, at least in MacBook standards. And that would also accelerate like video editing, things like that. Frosty, get a $1,000 Fortnite phone. That sounds a lot like the Samsung Galaxy Note, I think 9. That's what it is. They were literally advertising that phone as like the only advertising point was, it's the best device for playing Fortnite, and it was like a $1,000 phone, and I'm like, and you thought Apple selling the iPhone 10 for $1,000 was bad? At least Apple gave you a reason, tried to give you a legitimate reason to pay $1,000 for that iPhone 10. But here comes Samsung. Pay $1,000 for the best mobile Fortnite experience. I mean, it's a free game, and the fact that you might buy a $1,000 phone to pay a free game or play a free game, that just tells you something's not right. Yeah, by the time you're buying a $1,000 phone to play your free game, maybe the free game isn't really free anymore. Like, there's an issue. I played Fortnite on my brother's Xbox like a few times, and I just didn't like it. It's just not fun. Frosty, all they need is your mom's credit card number and the 3 digits on the back and the expiration month and year. Yeah. Except if you try to put anything in your Nintendo Switch, it goes, stop, you're not 18, so you can't store credit card information. And it tells you it's for a one-time use, and I'm like, okay, great, so I'll just write it on a sheet of paper and keep. No, I'm kidding. I do not steal my mom's credit card money. I'm not that kind of person. Frothy, most people got it for the skin. Yeah. I just don't really like Fortnite. I never got it on my Switch. Ever. Just because I don't even want that in my history. Played it on my brother's Xbox a few times and it was just boring. Like, I don't know why people love it so much. I can see how there's a niche. I think it's kind of a niche game. Frosty says you like it, but you hate the community. Yeah, the Fortnite community is kind of cancer. Anyways, the game was kind of boring to me. I mean, I can understand how people could like the game, if you know what I mean. But I think it's a very niche game from what I played. It should be a niche game. It should be a game that certain people love, but most people don't care or don't like. But for some reason, everyone loves it, and that's where it confuses me, because when I play it, I cannot see it being a massive mainstream game. Like this is almost as bad as Pokemon Go. Anybody remember Pokemon Go? There were obvious reasons Pokemon Go was as mainstream as it was, and I don't see those reasons for Fortnite other than it's free and on almost every platform. But there are a heck of a lot of other games that are free and on almost every platform that aren't going as crazy as Pokemon Go or Fortnite. So I really don't know why Fortnite's a really popular game, if you know what I'm saying. Frosty, its fan base is if Undertale's fandom and Sonic's fandom had a baby that hit puberty at 2. That has got to be the most accurate description I've ever heard of the Fortnite community. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to say that somewhere else one day. So if I forget to ever give you credit, you can like comment below like, that was me. I give him that idea. Ooh, getting pretty tired. I forget we have school tomorrow. That's a thing I gotta go do. Some schools get off tomorrow for Veterans Day, not us. We're too cool for that. Oh yeah, then there's the other thing. This week, Nintendo's gonna start selling the JoyCon package with Super Mario Party for $90, which is a pretty dang good deal if you ask me. $90 for a $60 game and $80 controller set. It's like the best value in my opinion. The only problem is the Joy-Con included our mixed matched colors, and you know how much that drives me crazy, everyone. If you saw that video about that pack, you know that drives me crazy. Frosty, oh yeah, I might get it. Yeah, I wouldn't say don't. It's a really good value, but I like my Joy-Cons to be solid color across the board. I don't like mix matching them. And that would force me to buy mix match Joy-Cons, which would just make my head explode. And I already have the neon yellow set, which is one of the colors in the Super Mario Party pack. So Nintendo, if you're watching the stream, I said the same thing on the video for that actual thing. Nintendo, if you're watching this video, that Super Mario Party pack, sell the Joy-Cons in some different colors and solid colors across the board too. Don't mix match them. Frosty asked what color the Joy-Con on the in the Super Mario Party pack are. The left Joy-Con L, is a neon green, and the right Joy-Con is neon yellow. Now the neon yellow is sold as like the ARMS edition is what they're calling it. The neon yellow is sold as a set with 2 neon yellows, a left neon yellow and a right neon yellow sold together. But the neon green one is only sold in the Splatoon 2 Special Edition Joy-Cons, which have a pink and a green, and then the Super Mario Party one, which has a green and a yellow, which is really unfortunate because the green's probably my favorite Joy-Con color, but it's not sold anywhere where it's solid across the board. It's mixed matched with something else that I wouldn't want. So, I don't know. That's just kind of a me problem and a no one else problem. Because everyone else seems to love mix matching the Joy-Cons. I just never liked that. Although right now I only have the gray set that was included with my system, and then I got another yellow set later. I still gotta get the full solid blue set and full solid red set. And the other question, Nintendo, when are you coming out with new Joy-Con colors? We still gotta get those orange Joy-Cons, purple Joy-Con, a full set of green and pink Joy-Con, brown Joy-Con. I don't know. There's still a lot of options out there, Nintendo. Why did you stop all of a sudden? Frosty, I would like a L and R neon green Joy-Con. So would I as well. I'm not sure, you can check on this, but I know for sure that Joy-Con L is the green one in the Super Mario Party pack, and I think that the Splatoon 2 Joy-Con might have a neon green Joy-Con R, which then you could then complete the neon green set. The problem with that is you then have an extra yellow Joy-Con R and pink Joy-Con L. You can't ever finish the pink set because they only sell it on that one side. So you couldn't get the controller for the other side in pink. Then you'd have an extra yellow one, which in my case I already have a yellow set. So then I would just have that. So, yeah, Nintendo, come out with some more Joy-Con colors, please. And some more not mixed match Joy-Con color, please. That would be appreciated. Very much, Nintendo. Also, I'm kind of mad because I got an NES Classic for my birthday this year, and it was pretty fun for a while. Frosty says white Joy-Con would be cool. Yes, they would. Like I'm saying, there's a lot of different Joy-Con colors they could go for. They haven't done yet. I don't really know why. But anyways, I got an NES Classic for my birthday back in July. I've had some fun with it, but then Nintendo Switch Online was a thing, which I had to buy to play online, and that includes all the NES games that I was going to play on my NES Classic. So, wasn't that a waste of like $60 now? Because I can play them all anytime, anywhere on my Switch. The only advantage to the NES Classic right now is to have the authentic NES controllers, which that won't even be a thing either once Nintendo actually releases the kind of Joy-Con-esque NES Bluetooth controllers they're going to release, which will make the wired controllers that literally only have like a foot, so you have to stand there with your face in the TV, NES controllers on the NES Classic. That'll make them pretty much obsolete because these are wireless and they work with the Switch. I don't know. They released the NES Classic, they released the SNES Classic, and now it seems like they're trying to kill off the NES Classic by adding the NES Classic functionality to Nintendo Switch Online and then even improving upon it. So I wonder if they'll do SNES next. And the question is, will there ever actually be an N64 Classic, or are they just going to find a way to work that onto the Switch? Because I probably much rather have just the game library on my Switch for the N64 than actually going to buy an N64 Classic. I mean, they look cool on display, but that's about it. And I figure an N64 Classic would be pretty dang expensive since the SNES Classic was $80. And we're going up another step in graphical performance here, first of all, and the ROMs would be more expensive as well for the N64 games. We got 30 games on the NES Classic, I think 20 on the SNES Classic, so we might only get 10 on the N64 Classic. Then I already hear rumors, and I'm not even joking, because N64 Classic's not even confirmed yet, and I'm already seeing rumors about a GameCube Classic, and I'm like, guys, most of the world still has a Wii, which you can play GameCube games on. And the GameCube wasn't even that long ago. Like, sure, it came out before I was born, but it still wasn't really all that long ago. So I really don't see them doing a classic for the a GameCube classic, at least not for a while, and that would be obscenely expensive. Frosty, Wii U simulator. Yeah. I can't wait till like 10 or 20 years later if they make a Wii U classic. That'll be the funniest thing ever. Like, remember that weird console? Just like Nintendo releases the Wii U classic, and everyone's like, the Wii U classic? What's that? Um, oh yeah, that weird console that no one really liked that dissipated and died once the Nintendo Switch came out and dominated sales records all over the world. Oh yeah, was that weird console that had some really good games, but they put all the really good games on the Switch, so there was no point in that console existing anymore? Or perhaps Nintendo will completely ruin sales on the Wii U Classic by doing the same terrible marketing tactics that were done transitioning from the Wii to Wii U when they transitioned from the... They should do that when they transition from the Wii Classic to the Wii U Classic. They should totally do like the same terrible marketing that they did for the Wii U. If anything, just to be funny and replicate what used to be. Because we're assuming Nintendo is thriving and is a multi-billion-dollar company by this point. And they can afford to make jokes like that back to their past. As they continue selling their newest generation Nintendo Super Switch with holograms and voice recognition I don't know. I don't know. And just the Nintendo Switch, the concept for it is so perfect. I cannot in my head imagine Nintendo working on another console. Frosty, yeah. Face ID on Switch. Raise your hand if you want Face ID on Switch. If you want Face ID on Switch, type I in comments. Anyways. Technically, they could do Face ID on Switch because, like, as is now, just with a software update, because the right Joy-Con has an IR camera in the bottom of it, so you could just use that for Face ID. You actually could. You actually could. Anyways. Like, the concept for the Switch is so perfect, I don't want to see them work on another console and leave this concept behind. So I want every console Nintendo makes from now on to just be a new version of the Switch. And there's a lot of stuff in the Switch's design that can be improved on, but the fundamental concept of taking it with you anywhere and putting it back on the TV is something I don't think they should ever ditch. But then again, people probably said the same thing about the DS, and here we are now, and the DS is kind of a dead concept, even though they're still making games for the 3DS. Except if you notice, most of the 3DS games that have been coming out recently are either lazy ports or just overall lazily made games. You can tell most of the development energy is going into the Switch, and that will continue until the 3DS kind of like dissipates and dies. The Wii U and Nintendo didn't even wait for that thing to dissipate and die. They just pulled the plug real fast and said, bye-bye Wii U. Although for whatever reason they left the actual Wii U tab on their website up for like a few months after the Switch came out, even though by that point you couldn't buy a Wii U even if you wanted to. They just left it up anyway. I don't know, it's weird stuff. But anyways, this podcast is almost an hour long, which makes this like the longest podcast ever, I think, that we've ever done. So that's cool. Frosty, they pulled the life support to plug their Switch charger in. Yep. Whoopsie daisies. We didn't mean to murder the Wii U. But yeah, the one thing I'm concerned about is Nintendo looked at why the Wii U failed. Let's think about this. Nintendo looked at why the Wii U failed when they did the Switch's marketing and features and everything, and they took everything that made the Wii U failed into consideration when making the Switch, so that the Switch would not fail, and it would fix everything the Wii U did wrong. And I'm afraid that by just killing off the Wii U, porting everything, its entire legacy to the Switch, all this stuff, they're forgetting that about the failures that were made with the Wii U, especially in the advertising. And so I'm concerned Nintendo is now prone to make those same mistakes again, if you kind of get what I'm saying. Like, I'm afraid that maybe in a few console generations, they start making the same mistakes on their newest console when they start advertising that they did on the Wii U back in the day, and it starts selling terrible again. So even it's okay, I guess, to kill it off, but Nintendo, you need to remember the Wii U. Remember why it didn't work so that you don't do something like that again. And with that, I think it's pretty much time to call this stream an end. We've been streaming for about an hour. And I'm pretty tired. I need to get off to bed because it's going to be a big week in school and that kind of stuff. And I want to work on some more video editing because, believe it or not, that's a lot harder than it sounds. Okay, see you, Frosty. I would type bye in the chat, but I can't. I got no chat typing. But yeah, YouTube channel, it's a lot more work than people really give anyone credit for. It's actually pretty darn difficult to do. More than you would think, especially with video editing. That takes a really long time. Really long time. It takes me like 3 hours maybe to make a good video. So yeah, I don't know. Gotta go work on that stuff as well. But right now, I think I might just go to bed because I'm pretty tired. But yeah, thank you for everyone that tuned into tonight's Variety Entertainment weekly podcast. Be sure to leave a like if you want to see another podcast next week. But whether you leave a like or not, there's still going to be another podcast next week. So again, just be back here at Sunday night, somewhere around the same time, somewhere around like 8:30 to 10:30 Central Time, somewhere in there. I'll be streaming. So that's good stuff. So yeah, be sure to come back next week if you want to see this podcast. And if you're seeing this podcast later, when it's actually a video, then be sure to enable your notifications so you don't miss this next podcast. So you'll get notified when that next podcast happens. So again, a very, very special shout out to Frosty for being the only one actively chatting on this podcast. So if you want to shout out on the next podcast at the end, make sure you stop by and chat. And that's pretty much it. Now I'm going to figure out how the heck you end a live stream on YouTube iOS because I've never done this before. I'm assuming it's this X. We'll see what happens. Yes, I want to stop streaming. Okay. There's another splash screen. I'm working on this. I'm hitting end.